My friends, if we want to make progress every single day, no matter what, then we must begin with clarity. We must know where we're going before we start walking. Have you ever tried to drive somewhere new without directions? You might get somewhere, but is it the right place? That's why so many people feel stuck. They wake up, they move, they work, they strive, but without a clear destination, they're just spinning their wheels. Progress isn't about working harder. It's about working towards something. If you don't know what you're aiming for, how will you ever know if you're getting closer? We must define what success looks like in our own lives, not based on the world's standards, not based on what someone else says we should be, but based on the purpose that has been placed in our hearts. Maybe for you, progress means deepening your faith, being more present with your family, excelling in your work, or overcoming a struggle that has weighed you down. Whatever it is, you must make it plain. Write it down, speak it out loud, set your focus. A scattered mind cannot walk a straight path. Now here's where many people make a mistake. They think big dreams require big leaps. They say, one day I'll write that book. One day I'll get healthy. One day I'll fix that relationship. But one day is not a day on the calendar. The only day you have is today. And progress happens today, not in the grand gestures, but in the small, consistent steps that move you forward. If you want to write that book, don't wait until you have hours of free time. Start with one sentence. If you want to grow in wisdom, don't wait until life slows down. Read one verse, one chapter, one meaningful thought today. If you want to change your life, start with one decision. Each day, we have the opportunity to take one step in the right direction. And here's what's incredible. When you take that step today, it makes tomorrow's step easier. Progress builds on progress. A single brick laid each day builds a foundation that cannot be shaken. But some of you may be thinking, what if I fail? What if I don't get it right? Listen to me. Perfection is not the goal. You will stumble. You will have days where you feel like you've lost ground. But forward movement is not about never falling. It's about getting back up. A righteous man may fall 7 times, but he gets back up. And when you have clarity of purpose, when you know where you're going, you'll rise again and again. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be persistent. So I ask you, what is your step today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because when you take that step, no matter how small, you are already making progress. And one step at a time, one choice at a time, one day at a time, you will get there. Now, my friends, if we are going to make real progress every day, no matter what, then we must learn to focus on what truly matters. Not everything is urgent. Not everything deserves our energy, but the world will try to convince you otherwise. Every morning, distractions come knocking at your door. Emails, phone calls, obligations, things that seem important, but won't get you one step closer to where you need to be. And if we are not careful, we will spend our days busy, but not productive, running, but not moving forward. Have you ever ended a long day feeling exhausted, only to realize you didn't actually accomplish anything that mattered? You were active, but you weren't effective. That's because motion is not the same as progress. You can spin in circles all day and still be in the same place, but when you focus on the right things, the things that truly matter, you begin to move forward with purpose. The key is learning to separate the urgent from the important. The world is full of distractions disguised as priorities. But if everything is a priority, then nothing really is. You must decide, before the day even begins, what will matter most. If you don't, someone else will decide for you. Each morning, before the demands of life come rushing in, take a moment to ask yourself, what are the most important things I can do today? Not the easiest things, not the most convenient things, But the things that will make the biggest difference in your life, in your work, in your family, in your walk with God, those are the things that deserve your time. Maybe for you it's having an intentional conversation with your child instead of scrolling through your phone. Maybe it's making time to pray before you check your emails. Maybe it's finally starting that difficult task you've been avoiding. These are the moments that shape your future, and if you focus on them first, the rest of the day will fall into place. But here's the challenge. Important things are rarely loud. They don't demand your attention. They don't knock on your door like distractions do. They wait. And if you don't choose them first, they get pushed aside. That's why you must protect them. Imagine a jar filled with rocks, pebbles, and sand. If you pour in the sand first, there's no room for the big rocks. But if you place the big rocks in first, the smaller things will fit around them. The same is true for your time. If you fill your day with small, insignificant things first, there's no room for what truly matters. But if you start with the most important things, everything else will find its place. Now, some of you might say, but I don't have enough time. Let me tell you, it's not about how much time you have. It's about how you use the time you have. You can't add more hours to your day, but you can make sure the right things come first. And let me be clear, this is not just about work. This is about your life, your faith, your family, your purpose. Because at the end of the day, what will truly matter? Will it be the countless tasks you checked off a list, or the moments you spent on what truly counts? You don't need to do everything today, but you do need to do the right things today. So before this day is over, decide what will matter most today. Choose it. Protect it. Focus on it. Because what you focus on determines where you go. If we want to make progress every day, no matter what, then we must learn the power of a simple, steady routine. A life of purpose is not built in a single moment. It is built in the quiet, consistent choices we make day after day. Too many people wait for motivation before they take action. They say, I'll start when I feel inspired. I'll do it when the time is right. But let me tell you, motivation is unreliable. Some days you'll wake up full of energy, ready to take on the world. Other days you won't feel like doing anything at all. If you depend on feelings to drive you forward, you will always be at the mercy of your emotions. But discipline is different. Discipline says, I don't have to feel like it. I'm going to do it anyway. It says, I don't have to wait for the perfect conditions. I'm going to start right here, right now. And the best way to build discipline is through a simple daily routine. Not a complicated one, not something that drains your energy before you even begin, but a rhythm to your day that keeps you moving forward no matter how you feel. Now, a routine is not about making life boring. It's about making life intentional. It's about choosing in advance what will matter each day so that when distractions come, and they will, you don't have to decide in the moment what to do. You've already set your course. Think about the most important things in your life: your faith, your family, your work, your health. These things don't just grow by accident. They require consistent care. A farmer does not wake up one day and suddenly have a great harvest. No, he plants seeds, he waters them, he nurtures them, and over time they grow. The same is true for you. If you want to grow in wisdom, spend time each morning filling your mind with truth. If you want to strengthen your relationships, set aside time each day to invest in them. If you want to make progress in your work, dedicate focused time to the tasks that matter most. And here's the secret. When you set a routine and stick to it, your small daily actions will begin to work for you. They will carry you forward, even on the days when you don't feel strong. Because habits, once formed, don't require motivation. They become second nature. But some of you may be thinking, what if my life is too unpredictable? What if my schedule changes too much? Listen to me. You don't need a perfect schedule. You just need a priority. Even if your days look different, you can still create consistency. Maybe you can't always pray at the same time every morning, but you can make sure you pray every day. Maybe your work schedule shifts, but you can still focus on the most important task each day before distractions take over. A routine is not about being rigid. It's about being faithful. It's about deciding in advance what matters most so that nothing steals it from you. So I ask you, what will your routine look like? What small daily step will you take toward the life you know you were meant to live? Now, my friends, let's be honest. Some days moving forward feels easy. The sun is shining, the road is clear, and you feel strong. But what about the days when you don't? What about the days when life pushes back, when distractions overwhelm you, when discouragement whispers in your ear? Because those days will come. You know the feeling. You wake up with good intentions, ready to make progress, but before the day even begins, resistance meets you at the door. There's an email that needs your attention, a phone call that throws you off track, a problem that wasn't there yesterday but somehow found its way into today, and suddenly the time you set aside for what really matters is slipping through your fingers. Or maybe the resistance isn't external, maybe it's inside you. Maybe you hear that quiet voice saying, "You'll never change. You've tried before and you've failed. Why even bother?" And just like that, before you've even started, you feel like giving up. But listen to me. Resistance is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's often a sign that you're on the right one. The moment you start moving towards something meaningful, something that truly matters, there will always be something trying to pull you back. That's the nature of growth. That's the reality of progress. And this is where most people stop. Not because they don't have the ability, not because they don't have the opportunity, but because they let resistance win. They wait for the struggle to pass, for the distractions to disappear, for motivation to return. But if you wait until it's easy, you'll be waiting forever. So what do? How do you move forward when you don't feel like it? How do you keep going when everything in you wants to quit? You take one step, just one. Maybe you don't feel like praying today. Pray anyway. Maybe you don't feel like showing up and doing the work. Show up anyway. Maybe you don't feel like forgiving, like trying again, like pressing on. Do it anyway, because progress isn't made by feelings. It's made by faithfulness. You see, people often think that those who succeed, those who grow, those who build something meaningful, must have some secret, some special ability, some endless motivation. But do you know what they really have? The willingness to keep going, even when it's hard, even when they don't feel like it, even when the progress is slow. And here's the beautiful thing. When you push through resistance, when you take action, despite how you feel, something shifts inside you. Your feelings start to follow your actions. What once seemed impossible starts to feel natural. What once felt like a burden becomes a habit, and soon the very thing that was trying to hold you back loses its power over you. Maybe today you feel stuck. Maybe you feel like you've lost momentum, but let me tell you, it's never too late to start again. It's never too late to take one more step. So don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until the road is clear. Take the step anyway, because when you do, you will find that progress was never about avoiding resistance. It was about learning to move forward in spite of it. Now, if we are going to make progress every day, no matter what, then we must learn to track where we are, to take account of our steps, and to adjust when needed. Because it is possible to work hard, to strive, to push forward, and yet not actually be moving in the right direction. Have you ever been on a long road trip, driving for hours, only to realize you've taken a wrong turn? You've been moving, but you haven't been making progress. And the longer you go without stopping to check your direction, the further off course you become. That's why you can't just assume that movement means progress. You must stop and look at where you're going. Some people are afraid to do this. They don't want to stop and examine their progress because they're afraid of what they'll find. They're afraid they haven't gotten as far as they hoped, afraid they've wasted time, afraid they've made mistakes. But listen to me, there is no shame in looking at where you are. The only mistake is refusing to look at all, because when you stop and reflect, something powerful happens. You begin to see not just where you've fallen short, but where you've grown. You begin to recognize that even the small steps have been adding up. And you see where you need to adjust, where you need to shift course, so you can keep moving toward the right destination. So how do we do this? How do we track our progress in a way that keeps us moving forward instead of feeling discouraged? First, take time to acknowledge your wins. No matter how small they seem, did you take one step forward today? Then that is progress. Did you stay faithful even when it was hard? That is progress. Did you get back up after falling? That is progress. Because too often we focus only on how far we still have to go, and we miss how far we've already come. But at the same time, we must also be willing to adjust. If something isn't working, we don't just keep doing it out of habit. If the path we're on isn't leading us where we need to go, we don't keep walking it just because it's familiar. We must be willing to change course when necessary. Maybe for you, that means reevaluating how you spend your time. Maybe it means letting go of distractions that are keeping you from what really matters. Maybe it means admitting that you need help, that you can't do it all alone. And that's not failure, that's wisdom. A wise person doesn't just set a goal and hope they arrive one day. A wise person looks at where they are, adjusts where needed, and keeps moving forward with intention. Now, some of you may be thinking, but what if I've wasted too much time? What if I've made too many mistakes? Let me tell you, it is never too late to start again. You are not too far gone. You are not beyond redemption. And as long as you have breath in your lungs, you have the ability to take the next right step. So stop and look. See how far you've come. See where you need to go, and then take the next step, because no matter where you are today, progress is always within reach. My friends, if we want to make progress every single day, no matter what, then we must never forget this. We are not meant to do it alone. No one climbs a mountain without a guide. No one runs a race without encouragement. And no one walks through life without moments of struggle, moments of weakness, moments when the burden feels too heavy to carry alone. But too many people try. They think they have to be strong enough, determined enough, disciplined enough to do it all by themselves. And when they stumble, when they struggle, when they feel like giving up, they don't reach out. They don't ask for help. They suffer in silence, weighed down by burdens they were never meant to carry alone. But listen to me. You were never designed to walk this road alone. You were created for connection. You were made for community. We all need people in our lives who encourage us when we are weary, who correct us when we are drifting, who remind us of what truly matters when we start to lose sight of the bigger picture. Look at any great achievement, any lasting success, and you will find that behind it there was not just one person working alone, but a network of support, encouragement, and accountability. Because progress is not just about effort, it's about alignment, walking alongside the right people in the right direction. Now let me ask you, who is walking with you? Who do you turn to when the road gets rough? Who speaks truth into your life when you need to hear it most? Maybe today you feel like you're struggling in isolation. Maybe you've been trying to move forward, but discouragement keeps pulling you back. If that's you, it's time to stop trying to carry the weight alone. It's time to surround yourself with people who will push you forward, who will lift you up, who will remind you why you started in the first place. And not only that, it's time to be that person for someone else. Because just as you need encouragement, someone else needs yours. Just as you need wisdom, someone else is searching for it too. And when we commit to lifting each other up, when we commit to walking this road together, we become stronger, steadier, and more resilient than we ever could be alone. So if you want to make progress, seek out people who will keep you accountable. Surround yourself with those who will help you stay focused, who will challenge you to grow, who will remind you on the hardest days that your purpose is worth pursuing. Because when we walk together, when we stand together, when we press forward together, there is no limit to what we can overcome.